Hey, DIY Nation, welcome back to the channel for part one of the Chevy Silverado C10 series. If you saw the previous video, we did the walk around on this beautiful 1985 Chevrolet Silverado C10. It's a buddy of mine's, as I mentioned before, but we are going to get started on trying to knock out some of the issues that this thing has, right? Like I said, nothing major. The thing runs, drives great, everything like that. It's just some of the creature comfort things that are having an issue. So for part one today, we're going to address, or attempt to address, the power door lock situation and the power window situation. So with the door locks, well, up until the other day, which I think I may have figured out what's going on with it, and once we get this apart, I'll show you what I think is going on. But up until the other day, this door lock tumbler would not actually go down. The door lock actuator actuates, but the door lock tumbler would not actually go down. I did now get it to go down, but there's a residual issue that's causing it that we're going to address. For the power windows, they are very intermittent. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, and when they do, they go down extremely slow, and I mean, you have to kind of pull on the glass to get it to come back up. So clearly there's some binding issues in there, possibly some electrical issues. So we'll attempt to figure out what's going on with it, number one, but number two, if I have to order parts or something like that to repair it, then we'll do a follow-up segment to this part to show the repair and everything like that. So what do we got to do to actually access the back side, the inside of the door? It's very simple. Anybody who's worked on cars, especially older ones, these things are fairly simple to take apart. We just have to remove this top door card piece. And to do so, there's two screws right here that we'll have to pull out. There's two inside this cup, and this actual handle cup will come out. There's one screw inside there that's a little bit deeper, which I'll probably have to go get another attachment for. And then there's a handful of screws across the bottom right here. There's two push tabs, the little things that they pop into and out of the door, that will have to break free with the panel popper. I'll probably have to go get that one too, because I don't think I have that in my cart right now. And then this thing will lift up and come out. And then we'll be able to see and access everything behind the door card here. The wiring, the mechanical facilities of the window regulator, the locks, everything like that. So that's what we're going to tackle. We're going to do the driver's side first and see what we can find out. And then we'll pop over to the passenger side and do some diagnosis on that one as well. So let me get all the tools I'm going to need for this and get started, get you in a position where you can see what I'm doing. And again, disclaimer, I'm using my phone to record this, so I'm still working out some of the bugs on using that. So forgive me if the angles aren't correct, or if my hat brim taps the camera, or you guys fall on the floor or something like that. I mean, anything's possible. We already have enough distractions from noises and things like that to go on out here. But I am using the phone, so I'm working out kind of the bugs on that. But let me get all the tools necessary that I need to do this job. I'll get you guys in here, and we'll get fired up and take a look on what's going on behind the door card. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back. So I've got my tools all ready to go here. I went ahead and got a longer chuck for the drill, just specifically for that screw inside there. So we're going to start zipping these screws out and see what we can find. There's not one in there. There's not one. There's supposed to be one in both of those, but there's not. We're going to zip these things out and see what we can figure out is going on behind this. Let's see what's going on behind door card number one. That's the voice that I use when I'm announcing at the park. Next up, number 10, Jolie Truck. That's actually my daughter's nickname, Truck. So you saw I did that. That thing, like I said, it just slides out of there. Let's see, we've got this one deep inside there. And on the floor it goes. And then we've also got these two right here. Sorry if you're looking at my waist here. Oh, looks like we may have to reattach that thing as well. But we got that thing off. And then, of course, like I said, we got to take this top door tumbler off here. I'm kind of monitoring you guys and my view to try to get it better. on here. This thing just unscrews up here. And longest stud ever. And like I said, there's two little things that are supposed to pop off back here. It does not look like they are actually still in. So normally you would have to pop these out, these little pop pins. I'll look and see what's going on with those. But this should lift up. We'll have to get it out of the way of the door handle, but lift up. And they're a little stubborn, so there we go. So lift up and out. And then of course, back behind the door panel, we've got the plugs. And immediately, let me bring you guys in to show you what I see back here. I can hang that right there. All right. Immediately we have broken plugs. To be expected in this kind of environment, right? The stuff is really, really old. So it looks like the plastic is broken off, and one of these is, I'll bet you that's probably one that controls the window. So immediately we're going to have to address that. But looks like somebody tried to get creative with electric tape in here, trying to keep these things on. So I'm going to try to pop these things off so I can take these switches out of the panel so we don't have the weight of the panel hanging on it. And that way we're not busting up any more of the integrity of these plugs. So immediately, first thing that I see. Now inside the panel here, of course you got your lever for opening the door that actuates the door trigger down there. And then down inside of here, which I may have to get a flashlight, you can't see it. Yeah, I'll probably have to get a flashlight to show you. We got the outside door lock tumbler down inside there. So what I think is wrong with the power door lock, actually, if you guys can see, if you guys can see, this tumbler is in the straight up position. And what I mean by straight up is it's not in the lock position, it's not in the unlock position. Now normally, if you look at one on a car, it's supposed to be up like that when it's in the neutral position. This was stuck down the other day when I looked at this, and I believe that's what was keeping that power door lock. So what we're going to do is actually remove the bracket that holds this tumbler in. We're going to straighten this thing out to where it's up and down, and then we'll reinstall the bracket inside there and see if that basically makes the door lock work the way it's supposed to. So I'm going to get after that. Like I said, I'll have to get a light inside the door so you guys can see it. But other stuff in here, part of the window regulator, it is an X frame, which means, you got two arms that work in a scissor fashion to lift the window up and down. I'm not entirely sure how the window's connected to the frame yet. We'll have to roll it down a little bit, but before we can do that, of course, I'll have to do something with this wiring. We got power door lock and power window wiring here, and then of course another wire for something else. I'm not sure what that goes to, or if that's just some kind of a reinforcement for the wire loom. So here is, let's see, push pin number 1, broken, not surprised. So we may have to try to fix that as well. See if we can pop that out. There you go, landed right where I needed it to. Good job. And then, let's see, there is a push tab up here that is actually in the door. So it's a little higher than I thought it was. But anyway, let me get these wires and switches out so this thing isn't hanging all over the place. Figure out a game plan on what I'm going to do with this, and I'll bring you guys back in. So stay tuned. All right, welcome back. So I did get these switches out of the door, and sure enough, this one particularly, so this is the power window one, right? It is dry rotted, cracked, everything like this. Now that I've got the pins actually touching, we have a window that does go down, and then I have to hold this pink one. It comes up, but it's extremely, extremely slow. So it is actually working. So I'm going to have to find a replacement plug for this to fix that. But at least for now, I can keep this thing on there so I can at least test the window going up and down. We're going to loosen up the track and try to fix that as well. Now, inside the door here, see if you can see that. Down there in the corner, the back side of that tumbler where the light is, that's the clip that needs to come out to straighten out that lock tumbler. So I need to pull that out, need to see if I can rotate that lock tumbler, if the bracketry inside there will let me, and try to get that lock tumbler facing up and down. And I think with that in the straight place, we'll fix this door lock from binding up. There's the door lock actuator motor right there. It's a little cylindrical thing. Of course, there is, if you guys can see that, the rubber arm that goes up and actuates the actual linkage inside there. So let me get after that and see if I can get that thing going. And I'm going to straighten that out and reposition everything and test it out, and then I'll bring you guys back in. So don't go nowhere. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back. So looks like we figured out the door lock issue. So this is the lock tumbler that is out of the driver's side door, well, the one that was in the driver's side door. With the lock key up and down, you can see how the arm, the actual movement arm, is pitched about, 20, 30 degrees to the left. So what was happening is the arm needs to be in this position to actually engage the mechanism in the door. So when you actually turn the key to the upright position, that's as far as it'll go. And then you have to turn it all the way back down to lock it. So in neutral position, it's sitting like this. I tried adjusting it a few times and it would not adjust properly. So I had a sneaking suspicion that the person who painted this vehicle installed the door locks in the tumblers in the wrong doors. So I went ahead and pulled the door panel off on the other side. Sure enough, this is the one that's out of the passenger side door. And look at that. With the key in the straight up and down position, now the engagement arm is pitched to the right. So what happens is when you put it in the door, the neutral position now has the engagement mechanism also in the neutral position. So you turn the key to the left, you unlock it. Turn the key to the right, you lock it. In the neutral position, it no longer binds up the power door lock. So I'm going to go ahead and put these things back in the proper doors, and then I'll show you, and then we'll test it and see. So be right back. So there it is. It's now back in the door. Very simple. You just pop it in there, slide that little keeper on the back. Now the key is in the neutral position and the door lock is locked. If I turn the key to the right, to the left, it unlocks the door, which it already was. If I turn the key to the right, you heard it lock, now it's down. Left, right, center. So now, if we come around here and hit the door lock button, it's already locked, door's unlocked. Door's locked, door's unlocked. Perfect. Now I'm gonna go and install the tumbler back on that side, and we should see the same thing. Be right back. All right, tumbler's in the door the correct way. Neutral position, lock, unlock, lock, unlock. Very good. Apparently he did not leave proper dry time for the paint before he put these in, because a little bit of that chipped off, but he can touch that up later on. So also testing the power door lock. Lock, unlock. Now it works. Another thing I noticed we're going to address, these crimp connections are very, very poor. So I don't know what he used, a vise or something to to crimp these. So I'm gonna repair those too, because we've got some bare wire sticking out on that orange one. So let me knock that out real quick. All right. So now we've got this all fixed up. Got some nice clean 16, 18 gauge connectors on the smaller wire. There's two smaller wires, and I think that's probably the power wire for that. Got us a 14, 16 or 12, 14, whatever that is, blue butt connector on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some electric tape. I'm going to wrap it up, give it that, new car look with the tape around it to seal it up, and then that thing will be ready to go. So I'll show you what that looks like when it's done. Stand by. And there it is, all taped up. And I got the little foam piece back on there with some tape as well to protect that inside the door. Some might say I'm a little bit borderline OCD when it comes to wiring and everything in the vehicle. I was taught from a young age when I did car stereo work to, tape up the wires to try to make them look like they're factory. They hide better. Not that it matters behind a door panel, but it helps protect them, just makes them look better overall. So under the hood, under the dash, things like that, I always go ahead and tape them up when I'm done to give them more of that factory look. So there it is. So the power door lock situation has been taken care of. That part's down. Now we're going to move on to the power windows over there on the other side. So I'll be right back. Let's get started. All right, welcome back. So I finally got some a little bit of diagnosis done on, what the heck is that thing flying around me? Oh, that's right. It's Fly 30 out here. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, I finally got some diagnostics done on a little bit of preliminary on this window situation. So it turns out it's actually about two things here, and I'm gonna show you what I did and what I still need to do in order to fix this. Y'all remember when I pointed out this broken wire? Let me see if I can pull this thing out of here. Y'all remember when I pointed out this broken plug here? Well, apparently part of the problem is, if that thing doesn't want to focus, let's see if I can get it to focus. Do you want to focus? Yes, focus on the floor, because that's what there we go. All right. Apple Intelligence, folks. This broken plug. So this, I believe, I don't know if it's power or if it's a ground trigger for the motor or not, but when that wire comes off, it does actually get a half-completed circuit through some other wire in there. But this is one of the main wires that powers that motor. So when that thing comes off, the motor doesn't want to work properly. As long as I hold that thing on there, see if I can do it with one hand, the window goes up and down. Well, the motor works with full power. So I'll show you what that looks like up here. All right, windows up. There it goes, sliding down. And then coming back up. See? Back up again. Now, it's not as powerful as it could be, clearly, because the engine's not running. It's a 12-volt battery. I do have the battery charger running a 6-amp feed into the battery just to help power it a little bit more. But this is issue number one. So I'm going to have to replace this plug. I said that already earlier in the video. Issue number two was these tracks. Now, these tracks on these windows, what the hell is that? School buses. All right, we'll cut that part out. Anyway, these tracks are known, especially on older vehicles, to be really tight in the doors. They kind of swell over time, and you can see what I'm talking about as it goes up and down. Now, whoever put this back together, assume the painter guy, put a bunch of bearing grease up inside the tracks. Now, the intention was good, of course, was to lubricate the track to make the window go up and down better. Problem is, bearing grease is too thick. And especially as it gets colder, the bearing grease is going to coagulate, and it's going to clog up the track and actually make the window operation less. You're much better using a very mild lubricant or silicone spray. I have this stuff. Industrial strength silicone lubricant. I'm not by any means recommending you have to get this particular one, but this stuff works a lot better. This, or like a white lithium spray or something that will remain pliable, loose, low viscosity, if you will, in the track, so that the window can continue to slide up and down the tracks without binding up. Because like I said, the grease will actually end up hindering it the colder it gets. So I loosened up both of these tracks, realigned the window on the track, and then cleaned out as much of that grease as I could and sprayed this stuff in the tracks. And you want to go all the way up and down the top tracks. If I can flip this around. Again, I'm doing this with my phone, so bear with me. You want to spray up in the tracks here and then all down the track. Let it run down the track in the door. You want to spray the entire track here and then let it run down and spray the inside of the track down there. And what ends up happening is, as I just showed you, you get a window that for all intents and purposes works a lot smoother, especially when this wire is connected, which is being a pain right now. Every time it stops like that, that wire's coming disconnected. Let me see if I can prop you guys up right here and show you what I'm talking about. All right. Let me hold this wire on me. And the window goes up the way it's supposed to. So that's what I think is probably the problem on the other side as well. So now that we've got this sorted out, I'm going to leave this door panel off, like I said, because I got to replace this plug on here and get this thing better connected. We'll go around to the other side over there and we'll see if that's also the same problem as we're having over there. So stick around, don't go anywhere. Okay, welcome back. So we're on the passenger side now, and turns out there's actually two issues. One of them relates to that plug over there. And the reason why is because on older vehicles, to be able to control both windows from the driver's side, right, you have to be able to send power and ground over to the passenger side. So what they do is they make that one a master switch and they make this one a slave switch, so that this one independently can send its own power and ground to the motor wires, which is this blue, or this black with a blue, and this blue wire, the thicker wires. And then you have the two remote wires that come across from the other side, which is this tan wire and this blue with the white. So what was happening is from the other side, I could go up and down. I could activate the motor up and down, even though the window's not moving. That's problem number two. But I could activate the motor up and down. From this side, I could only go up, but see, now it doesn't want to go down again because that plug over there keeps losing connection. So if I go jiggle this plug over here, right, and you can see I rigged up a little tie wrap to help that thing. If I jiggle these wires a little bit to get some better connection, hopefully that did it. We come around to this side, and now it still doesn't want to work. It was just working a second ago. But anyway, that's part of the problem. When I was testing this out with the test light on this thing, testing the different wires to figure out. That's what I determined, is that power is not coming across effectively from the other side. Because that is an open closed switch, those wires on the other side have to be connected, because that switch is designed to allow the power, when it's sitting in a neutral state, to allow the power from this switch to flow through to the motor. Okay, so it's really strange the way it works. It works similar to a three-way switch in your house if you've ever wired up one of those. I'm not going to get into mechanics of it, just take my word for it. But that's the issue. Issue number two is, of course, the window just doesn't, okay, this is actually the downside. The window just doesn't want to move, right? So here we go. The motor's clicking, but it just doesn't want to move. So I'm going to have to do some diagnosis on that as well and figure out what's going on. I imagine it's going to be the same thing, but give me a couple minutes and I'll figure out what's going on with it, and I'll bring you in and show you what I did. Be right back. All right. Welcome back. It took a few minutes to kind of get through this. I had to do a little sorcery with the wires over there to get those things to stay connected so that I could actually get an up-down motion on this. So I've got that rigged up for now over there so that we do actually have power in both directions on the switch. Now, the problem that we're having, like I said, I suspected that the tracks were also gummed up, and to some degree they are. So I did the same thing. I lubed the tracks, and I did get the window going up and down. However, like is very customary with these older vehicles, and I've seen this a bunch of times over the years. You know, these things, it's old technology. They're not the greatest in the world. So when they start to wear out, they really wear out. And there's a number of different wear areas that you can get. You get it on the track slides. You can get it on the actual window slides, everywhere, the motor, everything. So I went through a process of loosening up the components, trying to get them to free up a little bit, and it did work to a certain degree, to where now the window does go down. However, sometimes it still jumps off the track. I think I may have got that sorted out. It was jumping off this front track. The one issue that I cannot fix yet, and I have to research a little bit and see, in the past, when this thing would happen, you'd have to replace the whole regulator assembly, but this regulator assembly doesn't look that old. So I'm going to look and see if there's any tricks that people have done to help these things. So what's happening is when the window starts to come up, it's cocking forward and binding up in the track here. You pull the window back, see? It binds, you pull it back, and it comes up, okay? And then you can get it, you can see as you push up, the whole track is teetering back and forth. And there's only 2 rollers in that track that keep that thing in place. A lot of times that's due to slack in the regulator. But I want to see if there's any tricks that people have done to help that problem, because generally, like I said, you have to replace the regulator in order to do that. But the other problem is this is all one piece. To get this whole thing out is a bit of a chore, so I'm hoping I don't have to pull that whole thing apart. But we are making progress with it so far as the window being able to come up and actually seat in place. It's a little bit of a back and forth with the switch to get it to come up. Like I said, lubing the tracks, realigning the window slides, realigning the motor and regulator bolts seems to have helped at least some of it. So that's where we're going to end for today. I'm going to do some research on this and see what the next steps are. In the next part, we'll come back and finish working on this window. I'll tell you what it was that I actually had to do to fix it, and then we'll go from there. So I hope you guys are enjoying this so far. Part 1 of the series, door locks, power windows, to be continued. Don't go anywhere. We will be back. I love y'all. DIY 1978 guy telling you, peace out.